Vanessa, please help wash the dishes and change Zara's clothes.
No, I am tired. Do it yourself.
Every evening at exactly 6:15 p.m., Damilare Adeyemi stood outside the door of his small apartment in Lekki and prayed for courage before turning the key. It was never a thief waiting inside. It was the smell. The smell hit him first. Dirty plates stood inside the sink like they were competing to touch the ceiling. Empty shawarma boxes and takeaway packs decorated the sitting room as if someone was preparing for a rubbish exhibition. Clothes covered every chair, every sofa, even the dining table. Their little 5-year-old daughter Zara came running to hug him. She was still wearing yesterday's school uniform. "Daddy, welcome home." Damilare smiled through the pain and carried her into his arms. Then his eyes found his wife. Amaka was stretched comfortably across the sofa, laughing so loudly into her phone that even the woman selling roasted corn outside paused to smile. The neighbors often joked that they did not need television whenever Amaka started laughing. "Dinner is almost ready," Damilare said softly as he walked toward the kitchen. He had barely placed his office bag down before quietly asking, "Sweetheart, could we tidy the house after we eat?" Amaka yawned dramatically, stretched like someone who had carried cement all day, and waved her hand. "I am too tired." Damilare simply nodded. Everyone in the compound believed he was the difficult husband who expected a spotless home every minute. The gossip aunties had already judged him without hearing his side. But nobody knew the woman who claimed she had no strength to wash one plate somehow found endless energy to laugh for hours with one mysterious man every evening. And before this marriage finally shattered, one careless live stream would expose a secret that the entire compound would never forget. Damilare was not a lazy man. Every weekday, his alarm rang before the first call to prayer echoed across Lagos. By 5 a.m., he was already dressed for work, fighting the famous Lagos traffic toward Victoria Island, where he worked as an electrical engineer for a construction company. After surviving buses, impatient drivers, and enough horns to make anyone lose their mind, he still stopped at the roadside market on his way home. Fresh tomatoes, pepper, rice, chicken, fruit for little Zara. The market women already knew him. "Engineer, buying food again?" one of them teased with a laugh. He simply smiled. "If I do not buy it, my daughter will eat air." Everyone laughed. Back home, he cooked dinner almost every night. Every Saturday, he washed clothes until the washing line looked like a colorful Lagos street festival. He even learned how to braid Zara's hair by watching YouTube videos after Amaka claimed her headaches made it impossible to help. The little girl proudly showed off her neat braids at school. Meanwhile, the funniest part of it all was Amaka's social media. Every morning, she posted beautiful quotes over glamorous selfies. "A happy wife builds a happy home." People flooded the comments with heart emojis. "You are such an inspiration. You are the perfect wife." One afternoon, a neighbor stopped Damilare outside the gate while he was carrying bags of groceries. "My brother," she said with admiration, "God truly blessed you. Your wife is one of the most hard-working women in this compound." Damilare nearly sprayed the malt he had just opened. Hard-working? The woman had not washed a single plate in almost 1 week. He forced a smile and thanked her anyway. Sometimes, keeping quiet felt easier than explaining a truth nobody was ready to believe. But every smile was becoming heavier. And very soon, even the loudest gossip in the compound would discover who had really been carrying that home alone. Vanessa always had an excuse. If the dishes were waiting, her back hurt. If Zara needed help with homework, she had a headache. If the laundry basket was overflowing, the weather was too hot. But somehow, the moment her phone rang, her entire body received a miracle. Suddenly, the headache disappeared. She laughed. She sat upright. Sometimes she even danced. One evening, Damilare watched from the kitchen as Vanessa sprayed perfume before answering a video call. He frowned. "Are you going somewhere?" "No." "Then why the perfume?" Vanessa looked at him and smiled. "I just like smelling good." Damilare nodded slowly. "At home? Is that a crime?" He laughed awkwardly. "No, of course not." Then little Zara walked into the room. She looked at her mother, then at the phone. "Mummy, why do you smile more at your phone than at Daddy?" Silence. Even the standing fan seemed to pause. Vanessa quickly laughed. Children ask too many questions. She picked up Zara and carried her away. Damilare remained standing there. He loved his wife. He wanted to trust her, but something about those calls felt wrong. And that night, while Vanessa smiled at her phone under the blanket, Damilare noticed something he had never seen before. She had changed her phone password. Things became even stranger. Packages started arriving almost every week. One day, it was an expensive handbag. The next day, designer shoes appeared at the door. Then came fresh flowers and a perfume so expensive that Damilare almost wanted to ask whether the bottle contained liquid gold. Whenever he asked where everything came from, Vanessa gave the same sweet smile. "Oh, they are promotional gifts." Damilare looked at the handbag, then at the shoes, then at her. Promotional gifts for what? "My online fashion business." He nodded. The only problem was that nobody had ever seen her sell anything. Not one dress, not one handbag, not even a scarf. Still, Damilare kept quiet. Then one innocent afternoon, 5-year-old Zara picked up her mother's phone. What appeared on that screen was about to change everything. Zara only wanted to play a game. She picked up her mother's phone and tapped the screen several times. Then suddenly, a video call appeared. A strange man filled the screen. He was well dressed, smiling confidently as if he already knew the house. Zara smiled back. "Hello, uncle." The man laughed. "Princess, is mommy ready?" Zara looked around. "Mommy is inside." The man leaned closer to the camera. "I will book the hotel this weekend." Zara's eyes widened. "Daddy!" Damilare walked in from the kitchen. "Yes, sweetheart?" Zara happily held up the phone. "One uncle says he will take mommy to a hotel." Silence. Complete silence. Even the neighbor's generator outside suddenly sounded far away. Vanessa rushed out of the bedroom. "Give me that phone." She grabbed it so quickly that it almost slipped from her hand. The man had already disappeared. Vanessa laughed nervously. "Oh, that! He is discussing a hotel for a business seminar." Damilare stared at her. "A business seminar?" "Yes." "In a hotel?" "Of course." He nodded slowly. "All right." That was all he said. But that night, Damilare lay awake staring the ceiling. Beside him, Vanessa slept peacefully. Or at least she pretended to. Damilare could not stop thinking about the man's voice. Princess. Hotel. Tell mommy I will book it. Something was terribly wrong, and for the first time, Damilare wondered whether the woman sleeping beside him was hiding an entire life he knew nothing about. After that night, Damilare started noticing everything. Vanessa suddenly wore makeup even when she claimed she was staying home. She sprayed expensive perfume before every so-called business meeting. She dressed up as if she was attending a wedding, then casually announced, "I am just going to see a client." Damilare would look at her outfit, then look at the time, then look at himself in his old work shirt. He began wondering if he was married to a fashion model or running a secret hotel investigation. Then one afternoon, something even more embarrassing happened. Their landlord, Mr. Balogun, came to collect the service charge. He entered the compound and found Damilare washing clothes. He burst into laughter. "Engineer, so Madame has finally employed you as the permanent houseboy." The neighbors laughed. Damilare forced a smile. Vanessa laughed too, but Damilare did not find it funny. He looked at his hands. They were covered in soap. His heart felt heavier than the bucket beside him. He had spent years trying to keep the family together, cooking, cleaning, working, taking care of Zara, and still, everyone thought he was simply complaining too much. That evening, Vanessa locked her phone before leaving the room. Damilare noticed. He said nothing, but deep inside, he knew the truth was getting closer. He just did not know how painful it would be when it finally arrived. The truth arrived in the most unexpected way. Vanessa loved going live on social media every afternoon. She would sit in front of a mirror, adjust her hair, apply makeup, and give her followers fashion advice. That afternoon, she started another live stream. Thousands of people joined. Vanessa smiled at the camera. "Hello, beautiful people." Her followers responded with hearts and comments. For once, Vanessa looked completely happy. Then she placed the phone on a shelf and walked toward the balcony. She forgot one small detail. The live stream was still running. Thousands of people were still watching. Then something happened. The side entrance opened. The same well-dressed man from the video call stepped inside. Vanessa turned. Her face lit up. She ran toward him. They hugged. Then they kissed. The comments exploded. "Wait, is that her husband? Someone please call her husband." But it became worse. The man laughed. "Michael is too busy to notice anything." Vanessa laughed. "He cleans the whole house while believing every excuse I give him." The viewers went wild. Someone recognized the apartment, then another person recognized the compound. Within minutes, the video was spreading everywhere. And before Vanessa even realized what had happened, people in the compound were already rushing toward Damilare's apartment. Knock, knock, knock. Damilare looked toward the door. His heart suddenly began pounding. He had no idea that the entire neighborhood was standing outside with the truth in their hands. Damilare rushed home after receiving several frantic phone calls. He barely parked his car before noticing something strange. Half the compound was standing outside his apartment. Mrs. Johnson was there, the landlord was there, even the woman who normally sold roasted corn near the gate had abandoned her stand. Everyone was unusually quiet. Damilare stepped out of his car. What happened? Nobody answered. Mrs. Johnson slowly walked toward him. Her eyes were already filled with tears. She held out her phone. "My son, please watch this." Damilare took the phone. The video began. He watched Vanessa laughing. Then he saw the man enter. The hug, the kiss, the laughter. Then came the words that broke something inside him. He cleans the whole house while believing every excuse I give him. Damilare's face became completely still. He watched the entire recording. Every second, every lie, every cruel joke. He did not shout. He did not fight. He simply handed the phone back. Vanessa suddenly appeared at the doorway. "Damilare, it is not what you think." He looked at her. "Then what is it?" She started crying. The video was edited. Someone behind them whispered, "Edited by thousands of people?" Another woman covered her mouth. Nobody laughed. Vanessa tried another explanation, but there were too many witnesses, too much evidence, and for the first time since their marriage began, nobody in that compound was defending her. Damilare looked at the woman he had loved for 6 years. Then he quietly asked one question. "How long?" Vanessa's lips trembled, but before she could answer, the man from the live stream called her phone. Vanessa stared at the ringing phone. Nobody moved. Damilare looked at the screen. The same man's name appeared. She quickly rejected the call. Then she looked at Damilare. "I can explain." Damilare shook his head. "You have explained enough." The following week, Vanessa packed her suitcase. She left the apartment and moved in with the man she had secretly been seeing. She thought she had finally found happiness. But Lagos had a way of teaching people lessons without sending an invitation. At first, everything seemed perfect. He bought food, they went out, they laughed. Vanessa even posted smiling pictures online. But the excitement did not last. The man soon made something very clear. He had never planned to become her husband. He did not want responsibility. He did not want to raise Zara. He did not even want to hear about school fees. When Vanessa asked him to help with expenses, his attitude changed. "Why should I pay for your daughter's school?" Vanessa stared at him. "My daughter?" He shrugged. "Exactly." The expensive gifts stopped. The flowers stopped. The perfume stopped. Then the arguments began. Meanwhile, back at Damilare's home, something beautiful was slowly returning. Zara had clean uniforms again. The kitchen smelled of fresh food. The house was no longer buried under dirty plates and clothes. One evening, Damilare watched his daughter laughing as they cooked dinner together. He smiled. For the first time in months, the house felt peaceful. Then one afternoon, there was a knock at the door. Damilare opened it. Vanessa stood outside with a suitcase. Her eyes were swollen from crying. And this time, she wasn't coming back with excuses. She was coming back because the man she chose had just thrown her out. Vanessa stood at the doorway, holding her suitcase tightly. She looked completely different. No designer handbag, no expensive perfume, no confident smile. Just a tired woman with tears running down her face. "Damilare, please." He stepped aside and allowed her to enter. She sat down quietly. "I made a terrible mistake." Damilare listened. "I was lonely." She wiped her tears. "I was tempted. Social media made everything worse. I thought I was unhappy, but I was wrong." Damilare remained silent. Then Vanessa looked toward the hallway. "Where is Zara?" "At school." Her eyes dropped. "I miss her." Damilare took a deep breath. "I believe you." Vanessa looked up hopefully. "You do?" "I forgave you a long time ago." Her face softened. Then he continued. But forgiveness does not mean I can trust you again. Those words broke her. She began crying harder. I can change. I hope you do. He paused. But some things cannot be repaired just because we are sorry. The divorce proceedings began soon after. The court reviewed everything. Messages were presented, witnesses spoke. Zara's teachers explained who consistently handled her school needs. Even the live stream recording became part of the evidence. The truth was no longer based on rumors. It was documented. Because Damilare consistently cared for Zara, the judge granted him primary custody. Vanessa received scheduled visitation rights. When the decision was announced, Vanessa broke down. She had lost her marriage, but worse than that, she had damaged the relationship with the little girl who once ran through the door every evening shouting, "Daddy, Mommy." Now, one simple question haunted her. Would Zara ever look at her mother the same way again? 2 years later, Damilare's home was not perfect. Sometimes, toys still covered the sitting room. Sometimes, dishes stayed in the sink until morning. And sometimes, Zara left her shoes in places that made her father wonder if she was secretly opening a shoe shop. But the house was full of laughter again. One Saturday morning, Zara stood beside her father in the kitchen. "Daddy, I want to cook." Damilare smiled. "Are you sure?" "Yes." 10 minutes later, rice was scattered across the counter, tomato sauce was on the floor, and Damilare was laughing so hard he had to hold the kitchen table. It was messy, but it was happy. Vanessa was still trying to rebuild her relationship with Zara. She visited regularly. She brought gifts sometimes. More importantly, she kept showing up. She had finally learned that apologies were only the beginning. Some wounds needed time. Some trust needed years. Looking back, Damilare realized something. The dishes had never been the real problem. The laundry had never been the real problem. The real burden was carrying a marriage alone while pretending everything was fine. He learned that love cannot survive where honesty disappears. A home becomes dirty long before the floors do. It becomes dirty when trust is neglected, when promises are broken, when one person stops caring about the family they promised to protect. And strangely, the accidental live stream did not destroy Damilare and Vanessa's marriage. It only revealed what had already been falling apart behind closed doors. So if there's one lesson from Damilare's story, it is this. Never judge a marriage by what people post online. Some homes look perfect on social media, while the real story is hiding behind the camera. And sometimes, the truth does not need to be discovered. It only needs one careless person to press go live. If this story touched your heart, do not just watch and leave. Subscribe to Elodie Tales for more emotional, dramatic, and unforgettable Nigerian stories.